today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
We're back with episode 67 of Shop Talk. It's Kari.
And Jennifer.
And we are back discussing 505 of the Rookie and 104 of the Rookie Feds, also known as part 2 of the crossover.
Yeah. There was some news dropped on Friday by Deadline that the Rookie Feds now has a full season order. So we're getting an additional order of 9 episodes to give us like a full 22 episode season. And a little tidbit was that the additional 9 episodes comes just 3 weeks after the show premiered and after the news about like the Rookie Feds doing so well with ratings. So that's fun to see. Hopefully this just keeps going in the positive direction with like maybe a season 2, maybe moving over to Sunday nights, like who knows. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I was like happy to hear that just because like things like you said are just going well, and so I hope it continues.
I don't know, for me I was like, didn't they already have a full season? But I don't know, because to me I thought, well, it's a spin-off of an already popular show, so whether like a full season, like whether season 1 did good or not, like they would just, you know, give them a full 22 episodes, but guess not. So yeah, that's exciting. That was a good way to start the weekend.
Yeah, and I like how they like used like from the pilot episode, like the clips or whatever, like for like the reaction, because that was just like perfect, like Niecy as Simone, like doing that. Like it was too good.
Honestly, I mean, I'm not surprised that the Rookie Feds got an additional 9 episodes. And I saw something going around on Twitter. Well, and by going around, I think I mean like one person had shared it. And I think it was from like the Spoiler TV articles where they like do the, you know, prediction or whatever of like who's getting picked up for another season and who's not. And obviously, like we're only 5 episodes into the Rookie, so like it's still too early to tell. But it said like season 6 is like possible for the Rookie. And I was like, okay,
it's
well,
way too early to tell. I mean, it's doing well. I mean, like it had a big jump in like ranking, I think. For like the Sunday night cable programming, but like
it's still too early to tell.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, seriously, like the Rookie is just really strong this season. Like I mean, every episode I feel like we're like a broken record at this point of just saying like this was such a good episode, and like there's a lot going on, but it's still just capturing us, so captivating us.
It was like, I mean, like this episode in particular just like had like a little bit of like everything, and like I mean, I really like enjoyed it, although I didn't enjoy seeing like my favorite characters like in peril or pain, but like it was just good. Like I said, it had a good balance of everything. So
I'm weird because I like that, but then also like I don't. So it's a catch-22 because like I love seeing like, you know, Tim and Gray do stuff that they normally don't get to do, whether that's getting hurt or like kind of just, you know, going into a new situation. But like I also hate it because I don't want to see Tim on the floor being like, I can't move. I don't really want to see that, but you know, this is where we're at. So but yeah, it was an eventful episode last night, and then on Tuesday night, so should probably get into it because it's gonna be a long one.
So we'll obviously, as we always do, start off with the Rookie. So this episode was aptly titled The Fugitive. And so we're gonna start with like the whole hospital being like on lockdown / under attack is like interwoven with like it's like a like central, and then there's like character storylines kind of branch from that. But so like the whole entire thing kind of, it like Bailey's ambulance patient is like the catalyst for this, because it turns out that he has a gunshot wound that she had like found while they were like en route to the hospital to like get him medical attention anyway. Um, and I totally did not see this coming when like the guy like attacks her partner to like get his uniform or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, what the hell just happened? Because I was like, well, I don't know though, because I was kind of, I don't know, not like worried that it would like be Bailey, but just like, because everything seems to happen to Bailey lately.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh crap, it's gonna be bit, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be her too, and I was like, really? We just had her like dead last week. So
yeah. I mean, of course, she like had to find her partners, like that was probably stressful. But still, it was just crazy. I was just like, okay, didn't see that coming. Like, because he just like not jumped off the bed, but just like rose from the gurney and like took the tank and then just whacked the I was like, wow, like seriously. And then he like kind of took his time like putting on the uh paramedic like jacket, and I was like, okay, really, really. And then he ran into the hospital anyway, which is where they were going. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
I just had a lot of like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, but
Yeah, like
statements in my head.
like why did he run into the hospital? I mean, I guess because he did need the medical surgery, but like, was there more of a reason behind it? Was he trying to like? It was so odd.
I don't know, because like, I mean, okay, well, like one, the guy was dumb enough to like leave his wallet behind, so like then they find out his name like ASAP, and then it's like he also like had there was like the bloody clothes that he had left too, like when they were searching, like before John and Selena like go to the stairwell or whatever, they end up finding like the clothes with like some blood on them, and I'm like, really? Like, did he think he was hiding it well? Like, I don't know. It was just I don't know. Just it just wasn't very well. I mean, I guess it was a spontaneous thing to like do, I guess. But still, it was just I don't know. It just I had more questions, like I said, um than the episode like allotted for, I think, given this like just this storyline in particular. Um but yeah, anyway, so he, like I said, he was dumb enough to leave his wallet behind in the ambulance. Like they know his name is Rob Lukoski, and he's apparently also wanted for murder because he killed a woman earlier that same day. So I mean, I guess so he's like I'm obviously like on the run, hence the title. He's the fugitive in the situation, but it's like again, why run into a hospital? Because like not only are there, I mean, I guess yeah, for the medical supplies, because when when the hospital is in lockdown and like John and Selena are talking to the um like security guard, he's like, okay, we have, so many floors, there's like, 600, beds or something, there's like so many things, and then there's also you can pretty much get medical supplies like anywhere in the building. So I guess that's a draw. I don't know. But just like, okay, and then the hospital's in lockdown, right? So then like how did Gray end up getting the same room as Tim? And then like how did the rest of the LAPD, like how can they even get inside like the main way? Like to bring Tim in the first place, I'm like,
well, no, they'd put the hospital on lockdown once Tim had gotten there.
oh, they didn't. I thought they were like kind of
Gray,
announcing it as he like came in. I don't know.
But like Gray, oh yeah, maybe John was, but even
I
then,
don't know.
Gray still got in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
I'm
would
like,
assume just because it was an emergency and
whatever.
he's a
I
cop.
guess. Yeah. I guess.
I mean, them being in the same room was just comedic gold.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Like
That was
honestly,
oh my God.
best part. I mean, one of the best parts.
Oh my God, it was so funny. And just like I was so busy like live tweeting everything else that I completely forgot to like tweet like on our Twitter account anyway of like Gray's like you're still
Rolling
standing
around
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like subtext like I need you to run back to the station right now.
For me, it was when Gray was just like rolling around in bed, just like moaning in pain. I was like, stop. This is like pure comedic gold right here.
Oh my God. Because like we originally didn't know what was wrong with the poor man, and then it's like,
Right.
oh,
It's food poisoning.
like awkward.
It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much more too. We'll get
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, sorry. Like I said, I have a lot of like questions.
We aren't even like 3 bullets
No, we're
in,
not.
we're just like, how does all of this happen?
I just have so many questions. Well, because like I said, it's like a central like part of the storyline, but then it's
Yeah.
like they rope like the characters into it because obviously, you know, poor Tim just wants to like stretch his legs or whatever, and he's just, you know, minding his own business, walking along. And then obviously there's Rob has somehow like ditched the paramedic uniform and then is wearing the green scrubs, and obviously like notices the gunshot wound, like there's blood obviously on the shirt. So then Tim's like, oh, okay, I gotta, you know, like try to be the hero in the situation. And I mean, I get it, like it's Tim is Tim, you know. But still it was like, oh my God, it was just not, it was not a like good scene to like, oh my God, just because like then like Tim did, okay, so like strike one, like Tim goes down, and then Gray obviously is like hearing the commotions, then he goes out, and then Gray gets attacked too, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like what? Like Rob manages to like evade both of them, like
but
what?
also like when Gray fell to the floor and he like kept reaching, I was like, please, there's another comedic moment. And I'm not supposed to laugh right now, but I am.
Yeah.
So good.
I just, oh my God. And I just, yeah. So like we said, like Rob's like he's in the wind again. And then like I mean, Gray, I guess, is the one that like got like he gets up and like is sort of okay. Poor Tim though, my God. But anyway, so like I love how when I was tweeting though, and I was like, do you think I was like I posed like a question. I was like, do you guys think it was a good idea for John and Selena to split up? And then literally like 2 seconds later, it's like, well, no, it was not. Well, because it's like, why would you like split up in the like go down the stairs? I'm like, why would you split up in the dark, like lower level anyway? It's like, why?
Well, and like he posed the question to her and like had her, you know, kind of like fight for it or whatever.
Yeah, he was
And
like,
John's like,
have her
yeah,
deduce it, and I'm like,
yeah.
no.
And John's like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm like, dude, did you not learn from like 2 episodes ago when you like literally got in trouble for letting her do things on her own? Like, okay.
Yeah, because he literally was like, well, it's not really procedure. And I'm like, okay. I thought it was gonna stop there. But
Yeah.
he's like, but if you want to, I'm like, no.
I'm like, why are you entertaining this? No.
Yeah, like it was just so, oh my God. Because obviously, yeah, didn't go well. Because then Selena is like, she like bending down to like, because she thinks she sees something, and then gun on her immediately. Like she is like so like just so like minding her own business again, and then the guy is like literally just right there, and so she's like forced out of, well, they're going out of the hospital. She was smart though to like flip, I don't know if she like I don't know what it is, because like I know like on there's like channels, like different channels you can flip to on like devices like that. So I'm assuming she like flipped it to the channel where like obviously so John could hear like where they were going. Because they were going towards the ambulance bay. So they were like exiting the hospital, so he could kind of get an idea as to where they were. And I don't know, I thought it was, I guess not nice, but just like Selena was being nice in the fact that she was like rendering aid, even though guy literally has like is trying to like essentially like was going to kill her if she like didn't do everything that he said. I'm like, huh. Like, I mean, but she, like she said, she was like, cops are, like, we're trained to do this, even if, people are trying to,
Yeah.
hurt us. So, she's going to help whether or not she like wants to. It's like part of her job. So, um, well, I mean, she technically did help, but then Selena being Selena has a trick up her sleeve, like literally though, like literal like magic, in that she quickly, like, because she said she was gonna like give him the antibiotic or whatever to like treat the thing, and then nope, she flipped it real quick and swapped it out for morphine. So by the time like John's there and everything, she like manages to hop out of the ambulance, shut the door, and then just like they wait, and then by the time they throw open the door, he's like out like a light. So it's like she made it work, and she, I don't know, she just, her interesting ways of doing things like actually like paid off this time. Like it didn't get her like
in trouble.
Yeah, but it just like it like saved the day kind of thing.
I also love that John just continuously is surprised by her. Like he kind of doubts like her ways or her thinking or whatever, because even with the cold open, he's like, well, why would she lie about her birthday month? Like, I don't know.
Oh my God,
I love
that
how
was
he starts skeptical and then like is like proud of her. I don't know. Just love it. I love her though. So
yeah. Oh my God, the cold open was like kind of classic, like rookie cold open, because it was like fingerprinting time, I guess, like fingerprinting, and they were obviously gonna do the mugshot. And just, I mean, I just like how they continued it though, because like obviously Selena's talking about like the, birth charts and star signs and all this stuff. So it's like carrying over from like last episode, which is cool. And I mean, she ended up being right about that too, that like the girl was a Leo, so it's like she is lying. But yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Yeah, because John was like kind of surprised by that too. So I guess that tracks. But I mean, I did like how we got a couple more, kind of like vulnerable moments from her, obviously opening up about her sister more. That's why she's not a fan of hospitals. Although I have to admit, my like Chicago PD heart was like, oh gee, you want to know who else isn't a fan of hospitals? Jay Halstead. Like that's what I thought of, was like the 710 moment. So but yeah, Selena is not a fan of hospitals. It's reminding her of her sister and everything that like they went through with that. Although she like sarcastic, well, I'm assuming it was somewhat sarcastic when like at the end of the episode, when like she's getting like her own injury kind of tended to, and John's like, now you love him. I'm just like, yeah, I love him like so much. Like, no, obviously not. But I mean, yeah, she's handling herself well, and like I feel like, I mean, I'm liking the dynamic so far between her and John. So I think it'll work, and I'm excited to see. Well, obviously, we're both excited to see more of like Liseth. Like, when are we not? So
also, can we just change that guest starring to starring? Like,
please
just add her in with the rest of the cast, please. I mean, we're only 2 episodes, well, like 3 episodes, I guess, and to having Liseth on the show, but like, let's make her a regular, like right now.
Yep. She'd fit right in.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, that was kind of, like I said, we'll get, obviously the hospital will be mentioned again when it comes time,
more, because literally everyone was at the hospital this episode.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre.
And it wasn't even Shaw Memorial.
No, I know. I think Emily was talking about that on Twitter,
Yeah.
how it was like, oh
St.
shoot, what was
Stephen
it?
or something.
Yeah, Saint, yeah,
Yeah.
Stephen Hospital, yeah. And I'm like, and I think she was the one that was saying like maybe it's because they're filming on Paramount, so it's like
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
like set up or like staged differently.
Yeah.
But still though, you would think that, well,
Well, and even the
I don't
rooms
know if
kind of
it's
looked
like,
the same.
yeah,
I mean,
I don't,
obviously set decoration, but
yeah, I don't know if it's like I was gonna say like copyright thing, but it's like they're not real
right. Well, and they stayed
names,
on the
so it's
same
like,
network.
yeah, so it's like, why couldn't they just use it?
I don't know. I feel
I'm
like we're
so
overthinking it.
confused. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just
It really
weird.
doesn't
Like,
matter. It was just I literally
yeah.
thought it was like Shawn Memorial the whole time until Emily pointed that out, and I was like, "Okay, I was wrong. It's
Like,
mine."
why change things? I don't know. It just, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then next we have Angela and her brothers. So baby Jack's nanny is on vacation, and Wesley's like, why couldn't we just, or, your mom's coming in town to watch him. And Angela's like, yeah, well, we could have hired another nanny and she would have been on time. So Angela like is late for work or whatever, and Wesley's gonna stay to wait for her mom. But then she opens the door to find her mom on the ground. And at first I was like, she's passed out, but then like she calls her mom's name and then, like she wakes up. So
Yeah.
we see them next at the hospital. They're finding out that she's going to be admitted to keep an eye on her with the scan to be done. And she's going to need a couple of stitches. But other than that, like she's good for now. So before the doctor leaves, Mama Lopez is like, are you single? Because I've got 4 sons and I could set you up with one of them. And Angela's like, Mom, like, chill. And so then, once the doctor leaves, Angela wants her to tell her what's up. And Mama Lopez is like, I'm fine. Like, where's Jack? I'm fine. We're leaving now. And Angela's like, no, you're not. You need to tell me what's going on. And so Mama Lopez is like, well, I didn't want you to freak out, but when I was on my way to your house, a big man grabbed me and like I whacked him with my purse. And then he threw her down. And she's like, I'm sure that's a misunderstanding, but she heard, tell your son he's out of time. And that's all that she knows. Like, she doesn't know anything else. And Angela's like, what brother? And we still don't know who that is. We still don't know that. So Mama Lopez is like, it's got to be a misunderstanding. Like, all of your brothers are such good boys. And Angela's like, they used to stuff me in a pillowcase and drag me around the neighborhood. And at that point, I was like, why can I totally see that happening? And we haven't even met her brothers. Like, I can totally see that happening. So then Nyla and Angela are walking outside the district and we meet her brothers. And I loved how they like introed all of them. Nyla asks about her mom and Angela's like, yeah, one of my brothers is in trouble and it wouldn't be the first time. And Nyla's like, okay, well, this technically isn't your case and you can't really be involved in it. And so she's like, that's fine because if I do, I might end up killing one of them. And then we get the intro. So Damien is the oldest brother. He is the priest, also known as Father Lopez or Father D. He started a nonprofit teaching job skills to former gang members. So he has just as many friends as he does enemies. And then we meet Benny, who is the second oldest. I love how they did this in like birth order. So Benny is the second oldest, and we find out that when he was 12, he opened an investment account using earnings from lawnmower earnings and their abuelita's social security number. And then Cruz is the middle child in and out of rehab since he was 18. He just can't seem to get it together in Angela's eyes. And apparently, when she became a cop, she had to make a promise to her mom to never arrest him. That had to have been an interesting interaction there. And then Nyla's like, I thought that you had 4 brothers. And so then we find out Bruno is the youngest and he has been in New York since college. And Angela's like, I don't really think that he's involved. Um, So like they all meet up with Angela to find out their mom's in the hospital, and they're like, well, what happened? So Nyla takes over the explanation, and Cruz is like, you think one of us is responsible for this? And Angela's just, she's blunt. She's like, well, no one's leaving until we find out who's in trouble. And so Nyla's, wanting to kind of take the easy way out, but no one speaks up, so it's the hard way. And then we have like a montage of interrogations, which was really cool too. And so Nyla starts by questioning Cruz, and like he doesn't know what that phrase means. And so then Angela pipes in through the speaker from the viewing room to tell her to ask him about his record. And then cue Wesley walking in. And Angela's like, what are you doing here? And he just says bluntly, he's like, well, this is my chance to get one of your brothers to like me. And so they're kind of like fighting and everything. Nyla's not really having any part of this. And she tells Wesley to sit down and Angela to go back into the viewing room. So then, like, later throughout the montage, she even tells Nyla to ask about his credit report. Like, Angela definitely thinks that it's Cruz that is like behind all of this. But then the next interrogation is Damien, and Wesley ends up representing him too. So Damien, says that he works with people who might not always agree with him, but they respect the collar. And if they didn't, then they know that his sister is a cop. I feel like Damien and Angela are definitely the ones that they seem to be on better terms. So then we see that Benny is the next interrogation. Again, Wesley is in there. His phone keeps going off, and Nyla's not having any of it. Like, she asks about what his business is, and when he goes to answer, like, his phone goes off again. And so then, like, at some point, Nyla takes away his phone, and she's like, "You're not getting that back." And it still just keeps dinging. But when Damien's in there at one point, like, he talks to Wesley about getting baby Jack baptized, and Wesley's like, I'm not getting in the middle of this. And they end up, like, Damien asks what Wesley's religion is, and he's just kind of like caught off guard with it.
Yeah, he's like, Protestant? Is that even an option? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Wesley, you're killing me. You're killing me here, dude.
Okay, why did I think though that it was brought up at some point that like he did have, like, his mom wanted them to get married somewhere, and Angela was like, I'm not getting married there. But maybe I'm thinking something else.
I don't know. See, the whole like, well, no, I really can't say that like the whole like wedding planning was like that long ago, 'cause it really wasn't. But like I
No.
literally can't remember. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But then even Damien was like Episcopalian, and Wesley's like, yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Like, it's fine. So then we end up seeing like a car roll up outside the station, and two guys get out with another, saying that they heard what happened to Mama Lopez and they caught the guy who did it. And we see Angela talking to them, and they're like, oh, it's a citizen's arrest. And but the question is like, based on what evidence? And so apparently this guy's been talking smack about Father Lopez for weeks because he slept with the potential suspect's wife. And Father Lopez, I mean, like, Damien's a priest. And so Angela's like, dude, let's talk because you're not supposed to be doing that. And so then Damien says that he's been like rethinking his vows. And Damien doesn't think that this guy's capable of it. But Angela's like, well, I have to take a look into it because that's my job. So then we find out that Mama Lopez had a rideshare because Angela's at the hospital, like, picking her up. And she gave her car to Benny because he said that he needed it. So we don't see her go into any more like detail about that. She says that she doesn't know anything. Like, she didn't ask any further questions. But then we see Angela call Nyla and says that like Benny's having money problems and it's all off the books. So somehow Angela found out, whether it was like her mom or she called, one of the other brothers or something. And so they find him outside of work, and he's got a gun in his car. He's sitting in a BMW, like, obviously contemplating something. So Angela's asking as a sister, and I was like, well, I'm listening as a cop. Like, what do you have to say? And so then we find out that he bought some stocks on a margin. The stocks went south, the margin got called, and he didn't have like all the money for it. He said that he sold everything that he could get his hands on, but he was still 100,000 short. And so he went to a loan shark. He screwed up, and he's like, "But I can fix it." And Angela just goes into protective sister mode, and she's like, "No, we're fixing it." So they walk in and arrest the loan shark. And then at the end of the episode, we see a Lopez family dinner. And the guys are telling Mama Lopez all about the day and how Wesley like looked out for them, and Mama Lopez is like proud of Wesley. It was the cutest thing ever. It was like, we need more of this right now. And not even with the Lopez family, but like with everyone. Like, let's just give them like a Blue Bloods thing, but like make it the LAPD Wilshire district thing. Yeah. So then Cruz tells Wesley, like, a good man? No, he's a brave man. And Wesley looks over at Angela and he's like, well, she believes in tough love, but no one's more protective of the people they love than her. And I knew she'd understand. Oh my God, my heart. And it didn't get more emotional than this, but Mama Lopez gives a toast to Angela. And I can't do it justice, so we'll just insert the audio here.
I have something to say.
Mom, you don't have to.
Yes, I do. It's something I should have said a long time ago. To you. I know you always thought I didn't pay you enough attention growing up. That all my focus went to your brothers. I always denied it. But you were right. It's not because I didn't love you as much. You're my daughter. My only daughter. And I love you in a way that is only for you. But you didn't need me as much. Not the way they did. Since you could crawl, you took care of yourself. And when you could walk, you took care of your brothers, even though they were older than you. And I relied on you. I came to expect it. But as strong as you were, I should have realized that you still needed your mother. I love you, Mija.
Oh my gosh, it was just so sweet to see that. And like, I don't know, I resonated with that speech too, because like, I'm not the only daughter, but like, I'm the oldest. And I always feel like I've kind of been like on my own, just because I've been like able to kind of take care of myself. So
Yeah.
I don't know, that speech got me. And like, I was talking to other friends of mine who had watched this episode, and they were like, that speech was obviously the Chenford of it all was great in this episode, but that speech was one of the best moments.
Yeah. Well, because it's just nice because Angela felt, like validated and just, seen and heard, and just,
Yeah.
it was just nice for her to have this moment. And obviously, I mean, we got to, not only meet her mom, but then meet, 3/4 of her brothers. So it's like, it's just, and then Wesley's like over there beaming like a, proud husband. So
yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, I just love that we got to meet them. Like, not even just one. We met 3 of them. Yeah, so that was fun. And then just kind of another little side note, Erin was like assigned to Mama Lopez's room to make sure that she stayed safe during the lockdown. And their whole like interaction was funny. It reminded me of like Patrice and like Silas and Tamara, or Patrice and Smitty, like just I don't know, just like the friendly banter or something. And Erin's like hanging with her, and she's trying to set him up with her niece Isabella in exchange for his cousin to date one of her sons. And Erin like keeps wanting to see the photo, and he's like, okay, I can see it. And so then like Angela finally shows up, and Mama Lopez is like, wouldn't he be great for Isabella? And she's like, he's way out of her league. And Erin's like, yeah, you're not wrong about that. Like, but what am I gonna do? So
yeah,
it's just good.
I just thought it was so funny. I was like, can I see the picture one more time? I'm like, Erin, please.
Yeah.
Because she's a dancer, so it's like, But it just, oh my god, it's just
Well,
so
and
funny.
he even made the comment. It was like, "Wow, she is like really flexible or whatever." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, Aaron, I love you," but like, what? Yeah,
He just had like no filter in this
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
it was pretty funny. It was a like running theme for Angela's mom to like try to set up
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. But yeah, that's about it for the Angela Lopez of it all. It was a good moment. It was good.
Mm-hmm. It was. And of course, we're talking about Chenford next because,
We got to get to the stuff that everyone wants here.
although I've been waiting to meet anyone from Angela's family for
Oh,
like
definitely.
ages.
Oh, definitely.
But like all the I don't know, I guess I wasn't expecting like to meet Angela's family and then like essentially like for all of them to like be kind of not necessarily criminals, but just be kind of troublesome.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, it like kind of added an extra like layer to that.
I do like how they were all very different though.
Mhm.
Like Damien and Angela are both in professions where they help people.
Mhm.
And it seems like Benny was like a strategic businessman. Well, not really because of what he got into.
Mhm.
And then Cruz is just kind of like all over. And he could have very well gotten involved with like Damien stuff. And I mean, even Angela, like we heard her say that she had to make a promise to her mom to not get arrested. So like, or to not get him arrested or whatever. So, I mean, he very well could have like been, we could have met him like single-handedly just by Angela,
Mhm.
like arresting him or coming across him or whatever.
But yeah, so we're going on to Chenford now, of course, and like obviously like I mean because they dropped the promo, right? Like the like morning, like Sunday morning kind of.
Yeah.
Well, Sean shared it first
Yeah.
before the rookie account did, and then the rookie account did. So like we got a little bit of like to see like Lucy being
Mhm.
like worried for Tim.
Yeah, Sean shared it, and like by the time the rookie account finally got it shared, it was like circulating around Twitter, like just from a
Yeah,
screen recording.
yeah. So
So
it was
good.
kind of like an hour or two, like too late.
Yeah.
But I mean, it got everyone talking even
Yeah.
more about the episode. So yeah. And so Lucy, of course, like I said, is like being a worried work wife when Tim like originally like goes down while like because he and Aaron are teamed up for like 0.2 seconds and like I had tweeted I was like, oh good, like Brat's in action, yay. Literally like 2 seconds later Tim's like down for the count. I was like, oh
Yeah.
okay, that's over. Like, it's fine. um and so because they're like just out and about and then they spot like well sort of like the tail end of a burglary, like the suspects trying to get away, so obviously like they're running after him. And um Tim does this like insane tackle maneuver and ends up like injuring his well he said it's like his he like tweaked his back, but um it's like a little more complicated than that, as we'll find
Mhm.
out. And then like Lucy was there. I don't know if like how did she get there so fast? Like was she with
The
them?
crime scene?
Yeah.
I think she was just their backup.
It was just their backup. Okay. Because I was like, she was like right there. And I was like, okay. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I was just like, again, I had
Yeah,
questions. I
but
was
but if
like,
they were gonna have that anyway, then why not just have them writing together?
yeah, I don't know.
But
Maybe
they're
just,
still wanting to show the angst in them writing
yeah,
together.
I
So
guess. Yeah. But yeah, and so obviously because Tim, always wants to be like, oh no, I'm good. Like, even though he's like literally like not getting up quite yet, he's like not all the way up off the ground. And I'm like, dude, you're obviously not fine. And she's like, oh no, like we're taking you to the hospital. And so like even when they like get to the hospital, Tim's like fucking hobbling into the room. And then she's just like, no, I'm good. And Lucy's like trying to be all like, Tim's not actually here as like a supervisor. He's like here as a patient. He's like, no, I'm fine. And then 2 seconds later, he's like in pain again. And then so he has to sit down, and like Lucy and Aaron are helping him sit. And he kind of gives in and is like, okay, fine, get me a doctor.
Yeah.
So obviously they get him a doctor. He's like in a like bed and all, like in a gown and everything. And the doctor comes in like later, a little bit later, and like tells him that the bullet that was removed from like, see, this is where a flashback would have come in handy, although not like everyone didn't already know what they were talking about,
right?
But still, I mean, I don't know, that's just me, because like everyone already made the little parallel edits, and that like made me like reminisce about the pilot episode. Like I kind of wanted a flashback. Anyway, I digress. So the bullet that was removed from like when he was shot, there was like a fragment left behind, and it was like pushing against his spinal column, so like they needed to operate on it, but it'll be like laparoscopic. So like the doctor was like, so you'll be home by dinner. And like obviously like Ashley's there, and she's like, oh, okay, this is good. And just like, it was interesting though that like Ashley like didn't know that Tim had been shot.
I'm not surprised.
But it's like, I mean,
look at who is her boyfriend, Tim Bradford. Like he keeps things from people because he doesn't want them to worry.
Yeah.
I mean, as noted by what happens later in that.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe that's like a foreshadowing like thing, kind of, or whatever the oh god, I don't even know. I'm too tired. I can't think of what the opposite of foreshadowing is. Never mind. Moving on. I guess it's like a precursor.
Yeah.
I guess kind of. And so like Ashley didn't know about that, and then he like tried to play it off. He's like, oh no, it wasn't really a big deal. And Lucy's like, wait. She like interjects and is like, I saved his life on my first day. It was a very big deal. And I was like, okay. Like she just had to throw that in there. Like I mean, like I get why they did what they did, but it was like, it was clever. But also just like both of them, like Ashley may as well have not even been in the room.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Between that and then like Tim like literally like couldn't take his eyes off of Lucy, even though his actual girlfriend's like standing right there.
And at that point wasn't great in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah. I'm
How
like,
do you not know this?
Like, oh my god. And it was just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, no. I was just say I didn't know if it was like an Eric thing to like do the like subtle shift of his eyes as like Lucy was leaving, because she's like, I'm gonna go back to the search now. So she could like give them a minute for themselves. But it just, I don't know, because it's like, Tim, be louder, please. Like I don't know. And just, he didn't like quite make like a grimace, but like just, he just did like, he wasn't like smiling like super happy at Ashley or anything either. It was just like,
it was like a slight smile with no like teeth showing or anything.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. But yeah, and then it's just like, like looking off like to where Lucy had left, and I'm just like, okay. And like she was the first one to ask about like the like risks and everything, and like wanted to know and like ask questions. Whereas maybe Ashley was just, I mean, I'm giving her credit, maybe she was just like kind of processing everything and was like, whatever, like trying to understand, but I don't know. It was just interesting how they like did that scene.
Right.
And
Well,
like
that and like Lucy, I mean, I don't know. You would think that Ashley would know too, like, but Lucy knows like the risks and what like he can't do if he has the surgery. I would think like
yeah.
she knows how much being a cop means to him.
Mhm.
So, and she was there with him when he first got the injury. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe she just feels like closer to it or something, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Just lots of like little telling moments. And also though, like I completely this is the only good thing about live tweeting is I completely missed the Tim and Ashley like kiss in the episode too. I completely missed it. I was like, why is everyone talking about this as their first and only like PDA moment on screen? I was like, what PDA? I was so confused.
I feel like it was, well, I was gonna say, I feel like it's like a blink and you miss a moment, but really, like we blinked and we did not miss it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but so yeah, I kind of I did not know about that until like way later. Um but like so then like another telling moment is like obviously like while like Bradford and Gray are like sharing the hospital room whatever like as she's there and she's like talking about like traveling and just like all this stuff like has like got her thinking about like plans ahead and like what lies ahead for like her
her,
and
basically, not even Tim,
I mean
her.
yeah her I mean she tries her darndest to like kind of relay it back to
Yeah.
Tim but it's like she was still like she was just like saying oh well here's what you could do but like really she was kind of implying like here's what I want you to do
Yeah.
like, she wants him to retire
Yeah.
because of she knows how it goes with like her dad and everything and I'm like I get it but then at the same time I'm like why like
Right.
you obviously like she knows about like her dad
Yeah.
and like she knows that Tim's a cop she knew this the whole time she's dating him
Yeah, exactly.
so like and like she knows how much he loves his job
Hmm.
and like you have to know that like he's nowhere near like ready to retire like
I mean, unless like this injury, like he could not come back from it and he was paralyzed or whatever, like he's going to do whatever he can do to get back on the job. Like it's as simple as that. I mean, this isn't the first time though. We've seen her try and change him, and it's like you can't change him.
yeah well and I thought it was kind of I mean maybe this was intentional or maybe I'm just overthinking it but again like when she like mentions like anything involving like traveling or like leaving
Mhm.
California Tim's like oh I'd always wanted to go to this stadium to watch this game and she's like I meant like traveling like on vacation or like
Yeah.
traveling to Bali because she can lifeguard anywhere and I'm like do you realize how like polar opposite you guys are right now
Yeah.
like this is not you guys are not on the same page at all.
Well, and like for me, it's like, okay, if you're gonna live on his retirement, that's his retirement. They aren't even like married yet. If they
No.
were married, it would be one thing, but like they're literally boyfriend girlfriend. Like she
Yeah.
could leave him, he could leave her,
Yeah.
and he would take all that money with him. Like it just,
And
yeah.
it's just yeah, and I mean like it's assumed are we assuming that they didn't go to Hawaii? Or are we assuming that they went to Hawaii?
In my mind, they did not go.
Okay, so then it's like, why on earth would she just like propose that they just go? Like he retired and they can just move to like live in Bali. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how did you go from like 0 to 500 in like 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I get it. Like she was like excited about all the possibilities, and I'm like, but like Tim hadn't even, like made a decision yet. So she was kind of jumping the
Yeah.
gun there.
Well, and one of my friends was like, and they're not gonna like live it up on his retirement. And I doubt that they're gonna be able to go to Bali on his retirement. Like,
Yeah.
what? I don't know. I get it that they needed a reason for us to see that they're just not that compatible. I mean, we already knew, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like even for Tim to kind of see it, like it
Yeah.
just made him realize that a little bit more.
Mhm.
But I feel like this was so far-fetched.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
because it's like it would have worked a little bit better had we actually seen Ashley pass, what was it, for 420?
yeah,
Shoot, what was it? Is that the one where they went to Hawaii or we're going to go to Hawaii?
yeah,
I think so. And it's like, oh, okay, like that's 7 more episodes and like the 4 month break in between,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
to
that
have,
was
and
the
then we
last time
kind
that we
of
saw her.
forgot. Like I don't know, it's just like I kind of almost forgot. Like when she first was there, I was
Yeah,
like, oh right, Tim's actual girlfriend
yeah.
is here. Like
Well, that and like, I don't know, it just seemed far-fetched to me. Like bringing up Bali, I was like, okay, she could literally go on lifeguard on a beach in like Florida, and that would
yeah,
be a little bit more like realistic, I feel like.
yeah.
I don't know. I was like, well, that and Tim doesn't like the ocean, so how the heck is he gonna
So
fly over the ocean like that?
yeah,
Like, I don't know. It just
like
seems like far-fetched to me. But yeah.
yeah.
So,
And obviously they're like having this conversation before Tim decides to be a hero with like the whole Rob incident. So like obviously his like spine injury is worsened because of it, and that's what like could lead to the paralysis if it's not operated on immediately. So he has to have emergency surgery. I can't speak. It's fine. You guys know what I'm talking about. Um and like Eric did such a good job with like just the way like his voice was, and just like
mhm.
you could really just like tell Tim's like panic
Yeah.
and like worry, but like the two people he's worried about are also very telling.
Yeah.
Because his first thought is Ashley needs to go like call his sister like Jenny to tell her what's going on,
Are we
and
assuming
then
that Ashley and Jenny have met?
apparently
Also,
apparently
though, like, okay, you know how hospitals they follow like HIPAA and stuff, and like you can't
yeah.
have like a friend know about your like the hospital's not gonna tell a friend or just like an acquaintance that you're
Yeah,
with like about your medical situation. So how did they get past that with a girlfriend? Because usually, like,
that's
unless you're
true.
related, they don't
Yeah,
tell you.
I mean maybe she like well
Maybe it's just because he was a cop, but even then,
maybe I
I don't
guess I
know.
don't know. Well, because then like who's his emergency contact?
His sister, I would think.
Well, yeah, so then like why wasn't she? Whatever.
I
I
don't
don't know. I don't know why Ashley had
we're
to call.
we're just overthinking
Whatever.
this.
It's
They
fine.
they just needed a way to bring in Ashley
I
so that we
guess.
could then
Yeah.
get the scene that we've wanted. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're
No,
overthinking it,
it's
and
fine.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Then obviously like Gray's, like kind of trying to help too. And then like so his second thought is like, do not tell Chen because she has enough on her plate already. So obviously, like, well, Gray almost sticks with it till the end, obviously. Um,
Gray's
although
a Chenford stan.
yeah, no, like
Yeah.
for sure. I seriously though, like I thought that he wasn't going to say anything.
Really?
Like, yeah, I seriously thought he wasn't going to say anything. I just thought like maybe I don't know. I just kind of thought somehow like maybe Lucy would just like run into Ashley and like notice that she's like leaving, and then like be like where's Tim? Like what happened to Tim?
Everyone thought that Lucy was going to run into Ashley, and I don't know. I didn't think so,
I
but
don't
maybe
know.
that's just
I
me.
just was very like I don't know. Um I think it was just like the promo photos too, like threw me off because then like the whole entire promotional photo of Gray like holding his phone, and it's like Lucy was literally like a 2.5 second like
Yeah,
thing of like, he was just starting to call her, and then,
yeah,
you know, um he like he hung up because she's, already in his office, and I don't know. Um, but just like the fact that like when Tim woke up from the surgery and like Ashley was the first one at his bedside was like, I was just like, oh, okay. But like given everything else, it was somewhat expected. Um, but like I was surprised that she like that this is when she decided to break up with him.
I could not believe it.
I was like, what? I was like, excuse me, what? Because he literally was like, I just got out of surgery. Like he stated that, and she's like, I know. And that, but it's like, then there's a but, because like she can't be worried, sick like this all the time about him on the job. But again, I say, like, she knew this. She knows he's a cop.
Going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and he's out in the field. It's not like he's like, like
behind the desk.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
Hey, yay.
I was annoyed when she used that as an explanation.
Yeah, because like I don't really, I mean, just use the fact that you guys aren't compatible in like any way.
Yeah. I don't know. Like for me, I was like, okay, you knew going into it that he was a cop. Like you knew how dedicated he was. You also knew how your mom was with your dad. So why would you think then that that's going to be a very good idea? And continue to have it go on then? Like it didn't make any sense. And I was like, honestly, for me, the whole Ashley and Tim stuff in this episode, besides for the breakup, of course, but like even then, that didn't make any sense. With the Bali stuff, with like this breakup, I was like, it just seems so far-fetched to me and just like really odd. Like it was almost like they dropped her in 420 and then they were like, oh well, we gotta like make them break up, so let's just bring her back in 505 and just like create this weird way for her to leave.
Well, because it's like, okay, they had, I mean, obviously I guess we're supposed to assume that they've, obviously they kissed more than the one time we saw on screen. But still, like,
I mean,
so
she stayed over at his house. Like I think that they did a little bit more than that. But
it's just like, so it's like that was kind of just like a little bit odd. And then like the whole like, I love you thing was like, I'm not saying it wasn't genuine, I'm just saying it just didn't all fit together.
Right, because like, we haven't seen it as much. Like I feel like we've seen more of Chris and Lucy than we have of Tim and Ashley. Like we definitely have. And we've seen more of their like PDA, their affection. I mean, listen, he kissed her on the hand. That is
I was gonna say weird. Like we got a Tim and Ashley like kiss before we got like a Chris kiss.
I mean, that's just weird, but like, at least he tried. I don't know. I feel like I feel like we just didn't see a lot of Ashley enough to be like, okay, this explanation makes sense. Or, I mean, we weren't supposed to like her anyway, but I don't know.
And I just, oh my God, it's just like way, way harsh. Like in the words of Cher from Clueless, it's way harsh.
It was.
Like, I mean, just literally right after, like the man is just waking up, coming to, and like,
well, even he said that he was like, I just got out of surgery.
Yeah, and he looked so sad. I was so sad for him because I'm like, and he just had to like sit there, lay there for like God knows how long until Lucy showed up. I'm like, oh.
Well, even she was like, I wanted to do it before the anesthesia wore off. I'm like, you just keep saying bad things here. Like, just go. Just go.
You're already stomping on his heart. I don't think a little bit of anesthesia is going to make a difference.
Well, and it's not like it's like he's doped out like really hard. You know what I mean? Like he's still coherent enough. He knows what's going to happen. He's going to remember it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. It was in the history of TV breakups, that one definitely takes the cake for bad ones, I feel like.
I just like I wouldn't I it's just so random. Like I can't even really call it bad because we barely got to know anything about Ashley
Yeah.
other than the fact that she's like she and Tim just don't work at
So
all.
if they were to break up at any other point during like all of their storylines, literally I can think of like 2 or 3 that would have been way better than this one.
Well,
Like
yeah, I mean,
after the beach date,
yeah,
the whole like Kojo thing. And then
yeah.
the third one was when he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna change or whatever," and she was like, "Yeah, I can't make you change." Like there was 3 perfect good opportunities there for like a breakup to make it make sense, and
Yeah,
this one did not.
I don't know. It was just, it was just random. And
Yeah,
so, RIP Tim Ashley. Although, swear to God, didn't I call them something else at one point? Like, swear to God, I think I called them like Ashford at like
yeah.
one point in time.
And someone else did too in the listener thoughts. So
Okay, good. So I'm not like completely losing it. Yeah, because I was like, Tim Ashley doesn't really have the same like ring to it as like Chris Chen.
yeah,
So, yeah. And I just, oh, so yeah, and like Tim was so he was like so sad. And then obviously, like, when Gray tells Lucy about the emergency surgery, like literally next scene, like they cut, she's like
yeah.
racing, like rushing around the hospital trying to find him.
Someone had pointed out that she was wearing the same like button-up shirt that she wore in like the undercover season 3 stint
Mhm.
at first. I was
Yep.
like, I did not put those 2 and 2 together. So
I didn't either. I thought it was like a like different like shirt or something, like different like
yeah.
flowy top. Um yeah, but we're also gonna pull the audio here because it's too cute and I have too many feelings to articulate it properly. So,
Are you okay? Why didn't anyone tell me?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Doctor said I'm gonna make a full recovery. And I told everyone to keep you in the dark.
Why?
I didn't want you to worry.
So just to be clear, you thought you might be paralyzed, but you were worried about me?
You know what? Slow your roll, Chen. Clearly, I misspoke. I was worried about the station, and I knew you'd be too concerned about me to take over for Smitty.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you saved the day, though.
Being sergeant's not so hard. I don't know why you're always complaining.
Really? Just smooth sailing?
No. It was awful. How did that many things go wrong in one day?
That wasn't even a particularly bad day.
Where's Ashley?
Yeah, I sent her home. She was exhausted.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm keeping you company.
You don't have to do that.
I know.
and I don't know, like the fact that he like kept using Chen though, like, can we talk about that for a second? Because like even in like the private conversation, like it's just the two of them. They're
Yeah.
there. And it's like, he's like, slow your roll, Chen. I'm like, really? You can't even like I don't know if like calling her Lucy is like too personal for him now or something.
It
just
has to
given
be.
everything
It has
that's
to be.
happened. I don't
That or
know.
like he just feels like awkward. I don't know. It's weird because like you said, even when it's them just in private, like he still
Yeah.
calls her that. And they're not even like on shift anymore.
No,
It is just weird.
no, not.
He's
Yeah.
just afraid of his feelings, honestly.
Yeah. Which I'm assuming is why he kind of chose to like lie to her about like why Ashley like
Yeah.
wasn't there anymore. Yeah, but and Tim's little smile at the end though, that like actually killed me. Like I am dead. Like my ghost is doing this podcast right now. Like that's all I have to say. Like he was so happy. Just that little tiny smile, but that's like enough.
Well, people were saying like there were so many 211 callbacks, and I was like, yeah. Like when she just sat down and she's like, I know, like I don't have to sit here, but I am going to. Oh my gosh. It wrecked me. I legit thought that was going to be the last scene. And then we had like 2 other last scenes following that. I was like, wait, I have whiplash right now from all of this. It was so good.
It was good. And also, like, Eric's like the only person I've ever seen like have to be like vertical and still like look good. Like, I don't know, it's so weird because it's like usually if you like show people, I don't know, like
usually the hospital beds are propped up. Gray's was, but I guess
like,
because of Tim's spinal injury, they can't like prop him up. Yeah.
So good job to Eric's profile. Like that's all. Like I don't, like that's it because he looked good in like every single frame. So like I don't. It's just the only person I've ever seen like actually like be successful at that. So
I don't know. I just have to think that it was so odd for Malaric to do that scene and like and be completely flat. Talking, I don't know. It had to be weird because in any other hospital you see the bed like propped up, but not in this one because of his spinal injury.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and just I don't know. And someone else had pointed out on like Twitter, I think, like I don't know if they're talking about like Tim wearing like the socks with like the little
like the
grips on the bottom.
Yeah.
Or if it was the fact that his feet were literally like right up against the like end of the bed because he's so tall.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That cracked me up too.
Well, even like the pants. Like I saw someone had tweeted before. They were like, I wonder why he's wearing pants, but maybe it's because like they don't want us to see like the whole world underneath there. And then when I was watching it again, I was like, wait, did Gray have pants on too? And he did.
Mm-hmm.
I've never known of a hospital to be like, here, put on some pants too.
I can't say that I know of one either. But that was kind of cool though that it was like the same pattern as like the gown. I was like, oh okay.
It was, yeah.
Like rocking a full fit.
Yeah. Gray just like falling to the floor and kind of like flailing still just cracks me up, and I know that it shouldn't.
Those poor guys though, they just had a time.
They did.
Like they just had a time. And like I mean Lucy did too, not gonna lie, because like she was the one to find Gray and then she was the one to like go help Tim. So it was just like so many things for her.
All of them had quite a time though. I mean, heck, Selena was held to like gunpoint.
Yeah. They all had kind of a time.
The only one that
really have the time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's the only two that didn't really have a time is Balin.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all fairness, they did last week. So
that's true. I was like last week they were put through the ringer. So
yeah.
I guess maybe that's why.
Yeah. But then that segues over to Balin. We only had like a few moments for them. And hey, we didn't get any cringy lines. We haven't in a while. Knock on wood. Yeah, because I don't know, next week very well could trigger some of those. But it turns out that Bailey's going back to work after a week after she died and was brought back to life. And she casually walks away and she's like, yeah, it's not the first time that's happened, and I was brought back. And no one's like, wait, what? And then when he brings it up to Selena, she's like, yeah, I knew that. Like, just from when I saved her, I could feel it.
Thought that was so funny how she like knew one of the other ways that Bailey was like considered to be dead. And I was like, what? Like, why? Like, I was kind of with Nolan. I was like, what?
Yeah.
How did you know that?
I love her. I love Selena. So then, Balin is having wine at the end of the day, and he's asking like how many times she's been dead and brought back, and she tells him, and she was like, I was scared the last times, but this latest time all I could think about was losing you and couldn't stand the thought of losing what we have. And then she proposes to him, and he doesn't even hesitate and says yes. I did not see her proposing to him.
Nope.
I kind of saw it the other way. Yep. But I also like was secretly holding out that it was like a job proposal or something. But I mean,
Yeah, I seriously didn't realize it was gonna be like actual like marriage proposal, and I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
I mean,
But
like it was cool, like I'm so down with it, but I was just like, wait, she like said she was just like so confident about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
But then, you know, like once, because I didn't think that was going to happen in this episode. Like I thought legit it would just happen in the next episode or something at the beginning.
Mhm.
But then, like when they were having the wine and she was like, you know, I couldn't stand the thought of losing you. I was like, oh, proposal is happening like right now. Like this is where we're leaving off. So yeah, it was good though.
Yeah.
I
It was a
like how
cute
we
moment
got to
for them.
see everyone, like Nyla, Lopez, all of them. I mean, even Smitty, like the man
Oh my
literally
God.
just stays doing the most.
Literally, it was like Smitty was kind of like the like start of like the retirement conversation anyway, because he said it in like a semi-joking like manner of like asking
Yeah.
him like, so when are you gonna retire? So like he can do whatever he wants, like
Yeah.
being, you know,
Well, even like when Gray and Tim
acting
came
sergeant.
back, like when
Yeah.
Gray and Tim came back, you know, we didn't even like put any Smitty in this outline because Gray was like, Smitty, move your van, and Smitty's
Yep.
like, van life, like hashtag
Mhm.
van life.
Yeah.
This man is iconic.
Yeah.
But then like when he's like taking over as like interim watch commander, Lucy
Yeah.
like comes up and she's like, "What are you doing?" Smithy's like, "I'm sending him home. It's called self-care." I'm like, "No."
Yeah. And then he tried to do it again later, and Lucy's
Yeah.
like, why is everyone leaving?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Sergeant Smitty said we could take the rest of the day off. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't. So I was so glad that Nyla was like, you know, gave Lucy a little bit of a pep talk and was like, they will respect you. Like, you just have to say something. And so she
Yeah.
did. And they were all so receptive to her. And I was just like, yes, acting Sergeant Lucy Chen. She's in charge. Such a badass.
I mean, we even got a few lines from Officer Jan.
Yeah.
I was like, I love that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved seeing everyone have
Yeah.
like parts in tonight's episode. So, or
Yeah.
last night's episode.
And like, yeah, it was just cool to like see Lucy like just be in charge of things and like, but then of course she got like real with him and was like, no, it was awful. Like, I don't know how you do this.
Yeah. Oh my God, their flirty banter kind of in the hospital room when he
They
was
were
like,
just
really?
talking like they were friends, and I was like, oh, this is what I've missed from them. Like,
Yeah.
they're just talking like normal people. There's no awkwardness.
Yeah. When she was like, yeah, everything went fine. And Tim was like, really? Everything went
Yeah,
fine.
and he
And
did
she's
like the
no.
hand thing too. And
Yeah.
I was like, man after my own heart with the hand gesture.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just loved it. This was honestly one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
For sure. So, and we have some listener thoughts. So Valerie had said such a great episode. It felt like the first couple of seasons where everyone got similar screen time. I loved the look Lucy gave to John when Tim finally says he needs a doctor. If she wasn't so worried, she would have been rolling her eyes hard. She said about Ashley, it was pretty messed up dumping someone when they just come out of anesthesia. I do hope Ashley finds out when it happened and she's gonna be mad. She also said, I wish they didn't just skip over the surgery recovery, but it looks like they will. Yeah, because like literally the promo shows him back at work like the next week.
And I was like, literally, dude, like they
You had
literally
spinal
to have
surgery.
Yeah, I was like, they had to have someone like hold you so you didn't move from the floor. Like,
I don't know. My guess is he's just gonna be like on strict desk duty.
nuts.
And like
I
maybe
hope
Gray
so.
is gonna be out in the field because like between last week's episode and this week, it says that there was a 1 week time, like a 1 week time jump or whatever. So that's what I'm assuming is gonna happen. I mean, unless it's not gonna
Just
be
does
like a
not seem
month,
like
is
a lot
it?
of time.
Yeah.
Like, because he had like
He literally had
major
spinal surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would think there'd be like some kind of like, I don't know if there's like a brace. See, this is why I need to be like actually know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know if there would like be like a brace or something he'd like wear, or like something where it's like he has to like take some kind of measure to like make sure his everything stays, like the vertebrae like all stay where they're supposed to.
I don't know. It's got to be like a few weeks or something. But even then, it's not like you bounce back from spinal surgery like 2 weeks later as if nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're a cop. I don't know. It just,
Yeah.
to me, doesn't totally make any sense. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, that promo gave us some Chenford crumbs, so I'll take it. So, and then Valerie also said, fun fact, the doctor was holding Tim's head like that to keep his neck and spine as immobile as possible to prevent further damage. You're supposed to give traction like that in any kind of potential back injury, but they rarely do it on TV. And she liked the detail. Same.
Watch Chicago Fire. They do it on Chicago Fire, which is
Yeah.
the only reason why I know that.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, definitely. I do. Yeah. It would just, I don't know. Someone else had like replied to one of the tweets that I'd like sent out last night during like live tweeting and was like, they should just have a thing called the rookie meds, you know, like a like medical thing. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Laura said, I have too many thoughts. Obviously, the Chenford moment was a favorite. I'm so glad Ashley is gone. Chris next, please. Okay, everyone's like one down, one to go kind of thing.
Because it was pointed out that he was like coming out of the station or whatever, like in the promo when Tim and Lucy are.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest.
I didn't either until M noticed it, and I was like,
no.
Why did you just point that out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna need Smitty to hold him back for something. Like talk to him about literally
like
anything.
Distractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause a diversion.
Smitty like commits to some kind of crime or something.
Oh God. Yeah. Laura said she loved dinner with the Lopez family, and Angela's mom's speech was so moving. Mm-hmm. It was such a nice moment, and like I hope it's not a one-off though. Like I want to see like continue to see Angela's family, or at least like maybe we can meet like Bruno. We can like meet the fourth brother at some point. Like I don't know. And then lastly, a Balin proposal to give us our season 5 wedding and chance for another Chenford dance. Oh yeah, I didn't even think of it. I wasn't thinking that far ahead yet, but yeah.
Yeah, they always get like big moments at the weddings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Literally, I'm just down for anything. Like yeah.
Especially if like then we can have like them both be single and then dance.
Yes.
So then there you go.
I feel it though. I feel the angst is going somewhere. I feel it. Like we're going to get Chenford Endgame this season. I feel it.
Yeah. I just don't see how we couldn't. Like at least to have some like culminating
some like
moment.
Other big step. Yeah. Like even if it's one of them confessing their feelings and the other is still like thinking about it or like ruminating on it. Literally, I would be fine with that too. So then Blessed Turtle had said, finally we meet Mama Lopez and 3 of Angela's 4 older brothers, and I couldn't be happier. I've wanted to meet them since season 2, and I'm so happy we finally did. Hopefully this isn't the last we've seen of them, because we still haven't met Bruno Lopez yet. Loved the family dinner scene at the end, very emotional and heartfelt. They also said that Nolan and Selena seem to be getting along, and that's great. I really love her, and I hope she doesn't wash out. I never even thought of that. Like she could still wash out. I'm choosing not to think about that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to think about it. Let's pretend that doesn't exist for her.
I'm choosing not to think about that. As for Nolan, he seems to be in a good place, not haunted at all by his decision in 504, and he got engaged at the end of this episode. I'm so happy for him. I feel like the 504 stuff isn't really going to come back up, but maybe that's just me. Maybe it will. They've done a good job with it with like Lucy and stuff before, but even then, that's when Rosalind was still alive. So who knows? They also said, and finally we have Chenford. Starting with Lucy, she was an absolute natural during her brief stint as watch commander. Tim and Gray in adjacent beds is such a missed opportunity. Their banter between them alone could have been comedy gold, and the writers squandered it. Yeah, because Tim was like, well, I'm glad that I didn't have any of that. Like, I'm glad I'm on this diet or whatever.
Yeah.
And Gray's just like, yeah, I'm not. We shouldn't let him pick the next restaurant or whatever. It was so good.
Yeah. The fact that like Tim was on like what was it, like Whole 30,
Something like
or
that, yeah.
something with the like the no bread. I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But then also Tim doesn't need to do it either. So
Right?
like, why?
So then like Aaron had asked him later, he was like, why does Ashley have you on all these diets? And Tim's like, it's because her dad has heart issues or whatever. Okay, well the dude is like 60 or 70. Tim is not that. Like,
No.
can we just,
It was just like more
let
of
him
like
breathe?
projecting. I was like,
Yeah.
Ashley, Tim is literally not going to turn into your father.
I'm like, can we just like let him breathe?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And let him eat bread. Like
Yeah.
breathe and eat bread.
Pasta and like all the other good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then Blessed Turtle had said, or maybe they didn't squander it and the scene was cut. If so, please include it as an extra in the home video release. Yeah, I mean, bloopers, please, because I know that there was some good comedy. Whether it was scripted or not, it had to have been really good.
For sure.
And then they also said Ashley's got to learn to time things better, because as soon as she said she had no interest in marriage or kids, I knew Ashford was over. It was just a matter of time, but damn girl, at least wait till he's out of the hospital first. That was cold-blooded. Literally, like there were other times that she could have broken up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they also said, and we had the Chenford scene, especially with the 211 parallels, almost the entire time. Now with Ashley gone, we're one step closer to canon Chenford. With every passing episode, my initial mid-season guesstimate is looking more and more accurate. I definitely think mid-season, like I said, even if it's just a confession and the other one like ruminates on it, I think that'll happen before we get like both Tim and Lucy saying like I like you to each other and going from there. So I guess we'll see.
Ricardo said, glad Chenford is getting closer again. Still doesn't understand why Ashley wanted to change Tim. She should have loved him for who he is. Wondered why Tim didn't tell Lucy about the breakup yet. Yeah, see, I'm wondering why too, but maybe they just got it, they got to throw in that, like, what is it, like, plot twist is what it said in the Halloween episode promo, and I was like, okay, so maybe that's why.
I also feel like Ashley wanting to change Tim, I mean, I feel like that's normal for like kind of a lot of relationships, but like she was trying to do it a lot and like really projecting.
Well, it was just like about like the same things too, and I was like, they just like went in circles. It like wasn't productive for the relationship. Ricardo also said it's about time we met Angela's family, and expected to see Jenny in this episode. Oh,
because people had
like because she like moved back to LA.
Yeah.
So it's like she's right there now.
And people had thought that like I think Peyton List was gonna be in the episode, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of shocked to see Helena in it, like in the credits. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
I don't know why I didn't think we would, but
I mean, people were talking about it, and I was like, I will believe it when I see it. Like, I don't know. Like, but I mean, it was the same outfit from her Instagram photo that she posted.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Yeah. Lydia had said, I loved the soft ending of this episode. Such a beautiful mother-daughter moment for Angela. She said, I felt so bad for Tim with Ashley leaving him like that. He's such a loyal guy. And Lucy showed her talents and was there for Tim when he needed a true friend. It was just a real feel good episode overall. It was like, it definitely felt like season 1 for sure. Like the early seasons.
Yeah. G-Town 312 said Tim being in love with Lucy is getting harder to hide. He's almost paralyzed, and one of his first thoughts is to not worry Lucy. As a fellow cop, there's no way Tim would say that. Oh, he's always shielding her from pain. Oh, I think it's just it's that like protective instinct.
Yeah. Well, like he sees like how like sunshiny and happy she is. Like he doesn't want her to like become jaded.
Yeah.
Sunshine and sunshine protector trope.
Yep.
Full force there.
There it is. Yep. They said Tim is a goner. First Lopez, and now Gray definitely knows something's up. Yep.
He has to.
And like Nyla knows too. So it's like
it's only a matter of time before John Nolan figures it out.
He's gonna be the last one to know, and I'm just gonna like die laughing because like
he's gonna have some meme expression on his face when he does find out.
It's gonna be fantastic whenever that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. When Greg kept like egging Tim on, like, or agreeing with Ashley, I was like, dude, stop.
Yeah, I was like, don't help.
Yeah. And he's like, you should do it like it's a good. I'm like, what are you talking about? If you lose him, you lose the sergeant here.
Yeah.
Oh. It's like,
because then it would be Smitty.
Yeah.
Why would you want Sergeant Smitty?
I'm like, great. With all due respect, please shut up. Like, you're not helping the situation here.
Yeah.
Laura had said last night's episode was good. And the Chenford stuff was amazing. Yeah.
Yep. Lots of love for Chenford.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. I mean, we wouldn't really expect anything.
Right.
Less. But I'm glad Angela's getting like love too, because like her family stuff was like so nice and just it was just cool. And it's like, you know, like you have like the like Latino like representation too. So it's just like that like family, like just in that family like togetherness too. And then it just just is just so nice. And so happy for her. And Janine had said, I still can't believe Tim is going to tell Lucy that he and Ashley broke up. And Chris is walking out the door as Lucy had that smirk. Yeah, see, I apparently just Chris walking out the door went right over my head because I literally, because I like got the promo like for our Twitter to like post it or whatever. So I was like watching it. I watched it like 5 times over. Didn't notice it until Em pointed it out and like quote tweeted it. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was him. But yeah. She said, honestly, I really did love last night's episode, even the Selena and John Nolan part. She liked because Selena is really turning into a badass. She loved her little one-liners and like when Nolan said, can you believe Bailey's been dead before? And she's like, oh no, I know. And like, yes, there's still a lot for her to learn, but Janine believes that like in her own right, she's a very smart woman. And like she like, you know, when she switched the vials and she's like, there was nothing. But you know, and so like it's just very impressive. And Janine really loved meeting the Lopez family, and Angela's mom trying to set Thorson up with her niece was hysterical. And he was so eager to talk, and like their like conversation like kept going, and it was like just it was funny. And Janine's hoping we see more of the Lopez brothers. Yeah, me too. Everyone was like, they're so like they have good genes, and I was like, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, we see you.
Okay, I legit thought, I was like, oh my gosh, Angela and her mom look a lot alike. Like the casting department did
Yeah.
really good on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did for sure. And Janine also said poor Tim, but we got to see Lucy caring so much for him. And when Ashley showed up, she didn't like that she was being all like lovey-dovey. But Lucy walking in and saying that she saved his life was great. And then Lucy also stepping up and saying that, you know, Ashley, like, she just was stepping up like when Ashley didn't really. And like Janine liked that when Tim gets, well, more gravely injured, that his first thought was his sister and then his second was Lucy. Thinking about his two favorite women in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when Greg went back to the station and told Lucy, Janine felt for her. And she thought that Ashley, like, breaking up with Tim, like, right after the surgery, could have waited. It was a little bit, like, off-putting. Like, hello, he's been a cop. Why date him in the first place then? Yeah. I feel like lots of people are having that, like, similar, like, thought process of, like, why.
I
Like,
mean,
you knew what you were getting into. Like, why?
like, I
Continue.
get it. Like, you think, oh, it'll be different. Like, you know, we'll
Yeah.
be different with it. But it's also like, okay, but you know what comes with the job. Like, you know that he's
Yeah.
going to be working long hours. He could potentially get hurt. Like, it's different than just thinking like, oh, our personalities don't necessarily match or mesh or
Yeah.
whatever on like first date. Maybe that'll change. Like, no, you know his job and you
Mhm.
know that that's not going to change. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of odd, but
Yeah. Because Janine said even Tim was like, I just got out of surgery and like you're breaking up with me now. And she had asked, please tell me why Tim looked sadder when he told Lucy to move on than when his own girlfriend was breaking up with him. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he did look sadder when he like stopped by Lucy's apartment to tell her that. Then, of course, he did. I mean, he was kind, but I think it was just like so he was in like such shock, and then
yeah,
like,
it was
oh,
out of
okay,
left
he's alone
field.
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and then like even I don't know, like for him, I could see him thinking like, did she use that excuse because she really just doesn't like my job? Or like I don't know, it seems like she was kind of like blaming him
yeah,
because she didn't want like she wanted him to retire and he wasn't going to. And so she was like, okay, well, I'm gonna blame you and punish you then and break up with you. Yeah.
yeah. And then Janine said, let's talk about how when Lucy went into the room, it looked like she wanted to just like hug him and just like really, you know, be with him. And like both their smiles were really nice. And the I know parallel, I'm assuming Janine means lots of people were talking about the 418, I guess is where that comes from,
Yeah.
like the dance scene, like the Tim's I know and then Lucy's I know. So
Yeah, I think there were just quite a few different parallels.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And Janine is also happy that John and Bailey are engaged. So yeah, Bailey engagement was like, I didn't expect it to happen like right then, but it is, and I'm, you know, honestly, I'm here for it.
Okay, I honestly didn't think that we would get it after like all the Jason stuff, and John was like, "Yeah, like I might propose," and then you know that was kind of halted. I don't know. I just kind of didn't think that we would get it, and I'm glad that we are. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also like, all right, well, I mean, you guys can't seem to have a normal date, so
That's true. I was like,
sure,
that
like,
was my
let's
next
get
thought.
married.
Yeah, like, will they have a normal wedding, or like, you know,
Oh
will
my God.
like fireworks like start falling from the sky? Like, I don't know.
Or like, I don't know, another accomplice or something from Roslyn like reappears. Like, who the heck knows?
Yeah.
Or Oscar like gets out of prison or
Oh
something.
my God. Could you imagine Oscar being like a wedding crasher?
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put it past them.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
Wow.
like Balin can't have a normal date and they're gonna like go and get married. Like what?
Yeah.
But like in one of the episode descriptions, it says that Bailey like reconsiders,
Yeah.
like starts to like question it. So
Mm-hmm.
who knows? We shall see.
Yep.
Next week is a Halloween episode, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a picture. I don't know where it came from because I was on Twitter for like a minute today. In an effort to like take a mental break from work. And I saw that there was a picture of Nyla and James like out in their front yard with pumpkins.
Oh, that was in the promo. Like
Oh,
very, very
okay.
quick. Yeah, M's just
Okay.
really good at getting like the screenshots at that like perfect
Yeah.
like moment where everything's so clear. And yeah, it looks like
Okay.
they're going all out for Halloween.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I'll admit I watched the promo, like the full promo, like twice. The Chenford stuff, I watched it an obscene amount of times. And then sent it to our friends. And I was like, oh my God, the promo, guys, next week. And I sent them just like the Chenford stuff. I was like, this is like the main thing that you need to know. So, yeah.
I was so just kind of, I mean, I don't know why, because like Halloween's like the day after, you know? So it's like, I don't know why I didn't think that they weren't going to do a Halloween episode, but like, I just didn't really expect it to be like Halloween themed again.
We had seen a behind the scenes picture, right? Of like,
Yeah,
what we
that's true. I just didn't know it was gonna be like so like overarching.
Like Halloween.
Yeah.
So that is about it for the rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now moving on to the rookie feds.
Yeah. What was hyped up to be the second part of the crossover, and it didn't really feel like it. So
it didn't. I mean, it was a darn good like part two. It just wasn't really a crossover.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. It just they mentioned Rosalind for like a minute, and Tim showed up, and that was like about it. I was like, okay, I'll hand it to them. This is their first crossover. And it doesn't really matter that they're not on the same night because they still could have made it work. But like there was no real other crossover. So yeah. But the team rolls up to the scene where Rosalind was shot. They try to figure out where the accomplice shot from, and they see one of the bird masks and they know that that was the spot. So when asked what the plan was, Garza says that Boyle is either on the road or staying local. And he's definitely changed his appearance. So Simone adds that, you know, like given the Denver case, the LAPD found that he's a traveler. So Carter proposes that they should divide and conquer, and he's interested in the victim that the LAPD pulled out of the practice trap. And Laura wants to do a deep dive into the trap that he like built for Bailey to get a sense of his skill, artistry, and her instinct is he defines himself by the way that he kills, and that's how they're actually going to catch him. So Guards is like, okay, well, we're gonna need additional resources, so I'm making a call to DC. And they're like Carter and Simone are walking the halls of the morgue, and Simone's like, have you, worked a serial killer case before? And he's like, yeah, 3, and solved 2. And the third one, he'll tell her about it sometime if she wants to never sleep again. And before they go in, Carter tells her that like they should get prepared. And so he rubs the stuff under his nose, which like I never noticed that parallel until my second rewatch.
Oh, to like 210 of the rookie.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed it like because Tim and Lucy were talking about like the serial killer case, like with Rosalind's like many victims. And like Lucy was asking, like, were you, on the job or whatever? Because she was in college at the time or whatever when like one of her victims was, identified. And so I was like, oh, okay, they're doing that. And I was like, oh, okay, yep. Got the, what is it? Like, not menthol, but like, but I don't know, whatever it is they put under their nose to like mask it or whatever. But yeah, little parallels.
Yeah. So then Simone's like, no, I'm good. And Carter's like, suit yourself, like, whatever. And so someone like pointed out on Twitter that when Carter shows his badge, he's holding it upside down. And it's not even like the metal thing is upright either.
No.
Like it's literally all just upside out.
It's completely upside down.
It was just, I didn't even notice it on the first watch, but then I'd seen it on Twitter. And so then when I did the second watch, I couldn't like get past that moment. I was like, oh my God, that's just so
because
funny.
like you could see it.
Yeah.
Clear as day. It was upside down. And I'm like, how?
It was just,
Why?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like,
It was
I
so
gotta
funny,
think that he
though.
took it out and he didn't even like look to see how it was before. Like,
Yeah.
he just like flashed it. But
So
yeah,
funny.
it was funny.
Yeah. It was funny.
So then the Emmy shares that the Jane Doe was found with water in her lungs and electrical burns on her lower extremities. And they couldn't pull prints because she was in the water too long. So basically, like she fell apart on the table. And they're like, well, her face is still intact. And he says that that's because of the post-mortem gas release made her buoyant. Basically, she was floating face up. So then Carter kind of looks over to Simone and sees that she's like a little uneasy or whatever. And he's like, you can step outside if you need to. But Simone's like, no, I'm going to be strong for her so that we can catch who did this. So Simone sees a tattoo on her neck and it's the letter Q with a heart in it. And then Simone finds out that it's the logo of the Queen of Hearts car club. So then we get the one little crossover moment that we had where Laura and Brendan meet up with Tim and like he gives them a rundown of the location where Bailey was trapped in the steel tank. And Laura applauds them for getting Bailey out in time, but Tim's like, well, technically we didn't. Like she was dead when we got her out, but Chen saved her. And so Brenson starts like breaking down the intricacies of the steel tank, saying, it must have taken weeks to put together, planned for a while, and all of that. And so then Laura's like profiling this guy, saying he's not spontaneous, he's organized, and enjoys the prelude and sense of control. And so he enjoys watching his victims come face to face with their fate. And then Laura notices like the welding on the side of the tank and says that the suspect took pride in building the tank. Basically, he enjoyed making it almost as much as the killing. So like Carter and Simone are driving, like we cut back over them, and Carter's like, I want to tell you that you'll get used to it, but the bad ones will always be there when you close your eyes. And so Simone talks about one of the kids that she knew when she was a guidance counselor and how she went missing and her remains like turned up and the case still isn't solved. And so that like still eats at Simone. And so then, they find out that like Simone gets a text or whatever, and there's a hit on their Jane Doe. They've got a name, Sadie Frank. And then Carter and Simone like go to talk to her roommate who identifies Jeffrey, even saying like that she had met, like even saying where Sadie had met him. And he apparently gave her a book, which she still has. So they're kind of like looking into it more. So we get back to the bureau. Laura's briefing everyone, going through the profiles she worked up. And Laura's like, it's clear that Boyle has been honing his skills since before he met Rosalind, but getting an apprenticeship indicates someone who has a strong desire for approval. And Laura argues that he was exorcising demons from his past. He craved acclaim from a senior figure in his life. Like, it's reasonable to assume that the subject will strike again. Like, he's not a loner, craves connection, all that. I love how serious Laura is in this. I mean, obviously she's very like serious person. Like she doesn't beat around the bush or anything, but she is so like passionate and serious about this. Love that. So then Laura ends the briefing with like, this indicates someone who just doesn't see his skills as a means to an end, but rather that ability to express himself. She like killed it with the profile.
Yes. She can
Love
do no
her.
wrong in my eyes, ever.
We love her.
Yes.
So then Kari will get into the Mark Atlas stuff of it all later. But we cut over. Yeah. We cut over to see Jeffrey Boyle in a junkyard looking around. At this point, he's ditched the beard, ditched like the long crazy hair. Which
I was right.
Gotta be a wig. Yeah.
I was so right. I was proud of myself, guys, because I was like, he has to, because I'm like Thomas Dekker does not look like that normally. So I'm like, he has to have ditched the hair and the beard.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
anyway, I'm sorry, continue.
So he's looking around when a young woman comes up and dun dun dun, that's his next victim. So they talk about art. He tries to impress her, like she does the same. He says that his name is Owen now. And she shows him some of her work, and like he offers to show her a semi truck wreck on the other side of the junkyard, and he quote unquote leads her to it.
And this like the evil like smile and that like the music
Yeah.
that they do, like, oh.
But like I have to know, did he like drug her or like blindfold her or something? Like, I mean, I don't know. We're missing a part here, how they went from that back to his place. I was like, we're missing it here. So then, you know, like we go over to the bureau. Laura and Mark are walking and talking. She's not happy that he's there. He says that the last thing that she needs is like him undermining her. And we learn a little bit more about how she left BSU. So like she carried out a box out of her office, never looked back. She didn't return any of his calls. And she's like, you know, I just needed a clean break. We find out a little bit more about him, and I almost wonder if we'll ever see him again, too. I don't know. One can hope, because they were cute. And he apparently got promoted, and she's like, well, it only happened because I left. Their flirty banter was cute. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty cute. So Garza then like comes out with the real name of Jeffrey / Owen, and his name is Eli Reynolds. So he was born and raised out of Denver. And Garza asks Mark and Laura like what the odds are that he would go back home, and Mark's like, well, they're 50-50, but you know, we'll gain insight about his development and that'll help catch him. So Garza's like, all right, wheels up, we're going to Denver. And while they're in flight, the team is like doing more research on Eli. Laura and Mark like keep going at it, and I mean everyone's just like really awkward in there. Like poor Brendan, he's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
because he had some good theories too.
Yeah. Oh my God, no one ever like listens to him, and I'm just like, listen to him more, please.
Yeah.
My dude is smart. So then Garza like breaks them up, and he's just like, Carter, Brendan, and Mark are meeting with Eli's dad. Laura and Simone are gonna do Simone's lead of extraordinary guidance counselor things, and like that's where we're all gonna be. So they're going to look at his childhood from 2 different angles, and you know, Mark and Laura like may the best man win. So the guys meet with Eli's dad, and you know, he's like, I don't know where my son is. We don't speak much. While Simone and Laura are talking about are talking to who I assume is Eli's old guidance counselor, not just like a teacher. And you know, like it turns out he was troubled. There were signs of abuse, but like social services didn't do anything but look when he called. So the guidance counselor says that Eli / Owen / Jeffrey told him that his dad held him underwater to test his endurance. And so like after they find that out, Simone calls Carter, and you know, she's like, are you guys still with the dad? And so then Carter's like, no, they turn around. And you know, he's lying, like he knows what the abuse was. So they get back to the house to see the dad burning the evidence, because like why wouldn't he? He's already talked to the cops. Next step is burn any evidence, apparently. So he's burning anything that could scream to his son's like pathology and why he is the way he is. And so then, you know, I think it was Brendan that was like, yeah, that screams accomplice. And so they say that he's, you know, looking to a life without the possibility of parole. And he was burning stuff because he knew that he would be blamed. So the dad said that like why he did that was just because Eli was born soft. He was just trying to give him like a backbone. And Brendan's like, well, maybe that torture is Eli's twisted way of getting to know his victims, and he wants them to know or to feel the way that he feels and suffer the way that he suffers, so they understand him. Which is interesting. And Brendan, you're onto something there. So then Garza comes in and says, Denver forensics found a pay-as-you-go phone at the bottom of the barbecue, a literal burner phone. And Mark adds that gives Eli's profile, like, it makes sense. And he try and keep in contact with his dad to prove his worth, but hopefully the lab can get it working again, and they should be able to get his location. So Garza is like, looks like we're all spending the night in Denver, the FBI way. And Carter and Mark put their heads down, and Brendan's like, what's the FBI way? We find out that it's 2 to a room at the cheapest motel in town, and Mark and Brendan are bunking up. At first, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good, because there was, when they were going to like meet the dad or whatever, Mark was like, is Laura dating? And Brendan's like, oh, she's actually, and Carter just like cuts him off. So I was like, yeah, they're going to pick up that conversation, aren't they? And they didn't, but I was really hoping that they would. So we see them in the hotel room together. Brendan's socks, this is really random. Brendan's socks are like really fun. Just tried.
I didn't
I don't know.
notice his socks. That's funny.
Yeah. And then I don't know, like, I know the sound I also know the sound the first watch, but like is he looking at like a food menu or something? I mean, like, whole mood right there. Like, that would be me. As soon as I get into a hotel room, put my bag down, food.
Yeah.
So then Mark tells Brendan, that his theory about the subject testing the endurance of the victim was spot on, and asked if he studied behavioral psychology. And Brendan's just like, not even close, dude. Like, I was an actor before this. And Brendan thanks him for his feedback and, appreciates it, because he doesn't get it often, which is sad. And it needs to change. Like, again, this guy is smart and he has thoughts. Can we listen to them? So please and thank you. But then Mark tells him to make everyone like respect what he brings to the table. And he's closer to being a profiler, just with being able to create backstories like an actor would. I love how like he gave him a pep talk, similar to how like Nyla gave Lucy a pep talk. Like, I mean, Mark doesn't know Brendan.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then Mark shares that Laura's tough, but like, he tells Brendan that when he lets her get to know his worth, like, she'll be super hard on him still, but he'll have her respect. Side note, I loved all of the advice giving in this episode. Like, there was advice coming from all sides. So Simone and Laura are, of course, in a room together, and Simone like raided the vending machine. And Laura's like, there's no flaming hot Cheetos. Which I didn't think that would be like her go-to snack of choice. I don't know why, but I didn't.
I just couldn't tell if she was like being like sarcastic or like facetious. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But yeah, I was like, that is like, of course, I mean, Simone's right. She was like, you don't need them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So then Simone tries to get her to open up about Mark and give her some advice. And then Laura's like, well, we were great partners and there's certain closeness, but that's about it. So then Laura shares that it's complicated. And when she left DC, like, he reached out and she ghosted him, just needing distance. So then, Simone's like, so you hooked up? And Laura's like, no, we did not. And Simone's like, not discouraging like any kind of hookup now. So Brendan tells Mark, like, back to the guy's hotel room, Brendan tells Mark about his aversion to blood and asks him, like, or Mark asks him if he's ever tried like BMAC, which is broad-minded affected coping to trick the brain. And Brendan thinks of stink puppies. Like, that was his first thought. Which was just like adorable. And just the way that he sat there, he was like, the hamburger? And then he was like, stink puppies. And I was like, okay, we're going with
at first I
that.
thought he said sick. Like,
Yeah.
SICK. And I was like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, how is that supposed to be helpful? And then when he said it again, I was like, oh, he meant sink. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting him to say sink. I was like, just say puppies. Like, puppies.
Yeah, but the like little story was so cute.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
It was.
Brendan can also do no wrong in my eyes. So
Also, why did my mind think of like the Air Bud movies? I don't know why. I really don't. I don't know. It's
yeah.
So then like we go back over to Owen and Mia and they're talking about wine and they're speaking. It seemed like it was in metaphors to me. And they're kind of flirting, like he tells her that he has a special bottle of wine in the cellar and invites her to check it out. She declines, but like when she goes to the door, it's locked. She turns to use the other door, and that one's locked too. And she turns around again to see him behind her in a creepy bird mask, which, like, yeah, not terrifying at all because he like turns his head like the spooky way to him. Like, all right, you didn't have to do that in the mask. Like, you could have just let it be the mask.
Yeah. Well, because I was like when I was like live tweeting, I was like, "Hey, bird mask coming? Is the bird mask coming? Is the bird mask coming?" And I was like, "There it is." I was like, "Okay." It was
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was a lot.
So then, like, the next day, Laura and Simone meet up at the car, and Simone's like, "You got in late last night. How was it?" And Laura's like, "It was better than I imagined." So Laura then like can sense that Simone's not okay. And Simone's like, "Yeah, I just see the victims like every time I close my eyes and imagine how terrified they were." And Simone asks Laura like how she lives with all of the darkness, and Laura just reminds herself that there's more good than evil. But it just feels like she's lying to herself sometimes. So then Mark and Brendan run up in muscle shirts.
Yeah, like literally they
Okay.
went for a run together.
Yeah.
I was like, bromance alert.
And then like Mark literally like flashes his abs, and Laura looks, and I'm just like, girl, I'm not hating it. So yeah.
No.
So then Garza and Carter come up as well, saying that the data on the burner phone is theirs, and they're on the way to Tucson now. So Laura suggests looking for building supply stores and places where he can store specialty items to build his torture chambers. And Mark's just like, yeah, we should check salvage yards too. And it turns out that he used cash and has another victim. So we go back over to Owen and Mia. I feel like they spent a little bit of time with like Owen and Mia, but it was more like them figuring out the case, which makes sense. But I don't know. I feel like we didn't get a lot of time with like the actual suspect. But we go back over to Owen and Mia. She's in like a steam box, breathing heavy, screaming to be let out. He opens up like some peepholes and tells her that she's suffering. And so he like it gives her some water and tells her to be easy though, because the steam will burn her faster than dry heat. So, and that she should pace herself because it's gonna be a while. Like, I don't even know. Like, I just have questions. How did he like find Rosalind? And how did she find him? I feel like that could have been the crossover part. Like, we didn't necessarily need to see him like torturing someone else.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't, I mean, we didn't really get any like resolution on how Jeffrey and Rosalind like connected. I think we're just like supposed to infer that.
Yeah.
So then, like, when she asks why he's doing this, he's just like, well, you're special. And I want you to see, and I want to see how the heat changes you and like who or what you become, which is like really sick. And so he wants her to tell him like how she's feeling. So the team then gets to Tucson and they go off of what they know about his burner phone and that his location has to be like kind of deserted. So Brendan finds an address, they're on their way. They pull up to the house. Owen gets a ping and he like sees the team like walking up or whatever. So he's on the run now. The guys go around the back of the house. They see the bird mask. Mark steps over a laser, sets off an explosion, and Garza and the ladies like bust in. So while Carter moves, Brendan triages Mark's leg, and then that's where the BMAC thing comes in. And Brendan's like, hey, it worked. And Mark's like, great. Now my leg, like triage it. So we have Simone find Mia in the basement. She rescues her. Well, it's more so like Garza rescues her and gets her out. So, and then like Simone hears a thud and footsteps, and then like, Owen's on the run, Laura's not far behind. And Simone like is first from the team to like go on the run for him. And so then he gets Simone on the ground, and like he's just about to stab her with some kind of sword, until Laura shoots him and cuffs him. So we've got resolution on that. But again, like we never know how he met Rosalind. Like, was it through some message board? Was it like she reached out to him? Like, we just don't know. And I feel like that again could have been where the crossover happened, because we were missing a good portion of like how they even became connected. So then we hear that like victim assistants, reported that Mia's going to be okay physically, but like she's going to carry the trauma with her for the rest of her life. And forensics went through the house, in Tucson and found like digital memory cards, and he filmed every murder. There were 12 victims in total, which is even more sickening. Also, does he succeed Rosalind's number? I don't know. I think so. So then Laura gives Simone more advice towards the end of the episode, and we Laura says like, we often come face to face with evil and we don't always come out on top, so you find your own good somewhere away from this job and you just cling on to it with everything you've got. And Simone's like, I do have something good, like I'm gonna go find Dina. And she even suggests that Laura take some of that advice as well. And I don't know, I loved all of like the moments between them, the scene, like this episode with like the hotel, this scene. Yeah, it was good. And then Laura and Brendan are walking out together, and he's like looking at pictures of blood, kind of excited that he can like look at them now since his blood phobia is gone, which like I feel like is such a Brendan Akers thing for him to like be excited about that. Like that man is just sunshine. And Laura is just like, you just keep getting weirder. And because he mentioned stink puppies, and she's like, yeah, you're just weird. So then Brendan and Mark and Laura all like, get into the same vicinity. And it appears that Brendan and Mark have shared phone numbers and that they're like buddies now. Like they've got like a handshake or whatever. And I mean, they did like share a hotel room. Like I would hope that they would like get somewhat close. Well, they shared a hotel room, but no one really knows how long Brendan was in there. So yeah. But Mark tells Laura like when Brendan's out of earshot that he could be a hell of a profiler one day, and she's like, yeah, I agree, but don't let him know that because his ego is already too big. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the Feds episode. I mean, there is just a lot that goes on, and I feel like it's just because they're the Feds, and so like everything is like so much bigger and like more in depth. But yeah, I feel like we don't spend a whole lot of time with the suspects to like really understand it. And then when we do, it feels like there's things missing. So yeah. But take us through Laura and Mark, because they were kind of cute.
Yeah, they were kind of cute. Although I do just have to say that like I liked the guest star like list that they had for this like part 2 of the episode.
Yeah.
Because there were just like so many people that I like instantly recognized from like other things, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like Mark, for example, well, the actor that plays Mark's from like Once Upon a Time, and I was like, oh, I remember him. So yeah, but for Laura and Mark's obviously the person Garza brings over from DC. And as Jennifer mentioned, like he and Laura used to be partners. And he's also the one that interrupts Laura's lovely presentation on like, Jeffrey's psyche, and how like I keep saying they like banter argue because that's literally all I can think of is like what they do. So they go back and forth on like, why Jeffrey could possibly be so inclined to like show off his skills or like, how he kills. And I mean, I appreciated that he like tried to apologize and like, but I can also understand why Laura was like, it's okay, I just needed a clean break, like, so she was kind of like still a little bit standoffish. Um, and so like again, like when they're on the plane, they're like are going back and forth. And it's just like, I don't know, I think it's just me be like, since I studied psychology, like a lot of the same things that they like we're talking about, I just enjoy hearing like terminology be thrown around because they were talking about like all the sociopathic and like psychopathic tendencies and like what makes um like serial killers like abnormal in a psychological sense. And they're like just, doing all this to try to gauge, which one's right about Jeffrey. And so, or well, Eli, I guess, as we know him. And they'd like to do a lot of not like outright bets, but like kind of, because they're like, may the best person win. And Simone's like, oh, we will. Like,
Yeah.
so they just have like a little bit of that like competitive nature, like shared between like all of them. But then obviously like Laura and Mark like take it to another level because they're just like trying to one up each other like the whole entire time.
Yeah.
For sure. And like I literally thought, I was like, okay, enemies to lovers, like I'm calling it now. But like I had already thought that they like hooked up. Like I didn't realize when she was like, oh no, you have it wrong. Like we haven't hooked up yet. When she was talking to Simone, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting that, but okay. But like, oh my God, the transition though, when Carter was like, hooking up while on a mission is like tacky. And then like cut to Laura outside Mark's room. Like, okay. I mean, I will give them, granted they did chat for a bit. Just her saying how, she was sorry that she had to, I mean, like, because like when she like left him behind too. And like, they were like, just not only were they partners, they were like, really close friends. And so it's like, they obviously like missed each other. And they hug, which is what leads to their kiss, which is leads to their obvious hookup. So it's like, there you go. And again, I gotta know though, like, how did Brendan get back into the room if he got back into the room? And if not, where did he sleep? Because there's no way in hell that Garza and Carter would like let him into their room. They would like, I swear to God, he probably would like be sleeping like poolside before they'd let him into their room.
He probably was. He probably was. But I could also see him like going back. Well, wait, but how would he have went back to the room and been locked out when he has a key?
That's true. But then it's like,
but I know that I know that he did not walk in on them. No,
I couldn't.
No. Was there like a sock on the door or something? Like, no. But I feel like I could see him like going over to Garza and Carter's room and being like, "Can I stay in here?" Like just like his soft little puppy look.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine that? Garza's like, "No, you can't," and Carter backs him up and he's like, "No, you definitely can't."
I mean, maybe he ended up like bunking with like Simone or whatever because if Laura's in the other room and like they're, like best buds like platonically and whatnot. So it's like maybe so because like Simone had no idea where the heck Laura was.
That's true. Yeah.
Like the night. So I'm like, I need to know these things. I mean, I really don't. It's like the dumbest thing ever, but like I really want to know.
That's true. Yeah, I never thought that like Brendan could have went to Simone's room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then like
like they're besties. Like they could just stay up all night talking.
Oh, for sure. But do we assume that Brendan then knows that Laura and Mark hooked up? Because she was like, we gotta keep this on the down low.
I don't know.
Also, okay, did you notice that Laura sat down on Brendan's bed? I mean, again, it's so stupid. It's not even a thing. But I noticed I didn't rewatch and I was like, hold up, no one move.
Oh
and I was like, literally, keep it together. Like,
So
chill.
funny.
This isn't even anything major. And I was like, I had to talk myself down from it.
So
Like,
funny.
I'm literally trash.
Well, because like I was like gauging his like facial expressions when they were talking about like when he and Mark were talking about Laura.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, they're talking about her and like one of them like likes her in like that way, and then the
Yeah.
other one like barely knows her.
Yeah.
So it's like that's gotta be like an awkward like thing. But
Yeah.
still, it's just like so many things. Because then like
Mhm.
I think I tweeted it that I was like, wait, was that Brendan that was trying to tell Mark about Laura's love
Yeah.
life? Like, hello. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I just really want to know. And I think I tweeted it on, or I tweeted a picture of a Tumblr post and
Yeah.
was like, I wonder if Kevin would have anything to say on that. Because the man always finds tweets like about the rookie feds, like even if
Yeah.
you don't tag. I don't know how he does it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize how much he was on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I love it though. Like, I
yeah,
seriously love
no,
it.
it's fun.
He's the one cast member from Feds who is like the most active on Twitter. Like, the others are on Instagram, and so is he, but like he's the one that's most active on Twitter, which is so fun.
So nice. Yeah, but I mean, obviously, Mark and Laura have chemistry. Like, I mean, distance is like one factor that kind of puts a little bit of like a wedge in between this like somewhat budding relationship. But then, another is the fact that Laura just wants to keep things like casual because she's not ready for anything serious or long term, especially after everything with her ex. And so I
Yeah.
thought it was cool that like, Mark, like, I mean, he didn't like want that to be the case because he wanted to like continue what they have, but it's like he was still like accepting and like,
Yeah.
they're gonna, they continue to have fun while he's still in town. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were fun and I like them. And I kind of hope that Mark like comes back or like we see him
Mhm.
again.
Yeah. Or
So
at
it's gonna
least like
suck
a
if it's just like
mention.
like a one-off. Like that would be no.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, I thought it was just nice though, because Laura's like, I'm like focusing on like finding myself. And I was like, yeah, you go, Laura. I was just, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just love her to death. Love her
Yeah.
character. Love Britt Robertson.
Yes.
Just, yeah.
I'm loving Rookie Feds. I really
Yeah.
am. Like,
No, it's so good.
this show, I mean, the cast, you can tell that there's such a family off screen because like the relationships on the show between the characters just come
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
So and then for the last part we have Carter and his wife, which is like an ongoing kind of C storyline. But we see Carter on the phone with his wife. He tells her that like he's busy at work, and then he tells Garza that it's his day to pick up his son. So we find out that Garza has been divorced 3 times, and Garza's like, I'm here to help, whether it's advice or you need a good divorce lawyer, like I'm your guy. And Garza and Carter are like sitting out by the pool later in the episode, and Carter shares that he finally took off his ring, and then Garza's like, yeah, I threw my last ring out in the ocean. Like, emotionally it felt great, but not financially. Like, okay.
Garza's so funny in this whole
Yeah.
entire like poolside scene. I was like, he really does have some like strange yet comforting like words of wisdom.
Yeah. And it's so like, I don't know. I feel like he doesn't mean to be funny, but like he is.
Yeah.
And Felix just does amazing with it. Like,
Yeah.
Felix just takes everything that he's given, it seems like, and just like blows it out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then like, I don't know. I guess I just didn't realize that like Garza had been divorced 3 times. Like, I don't know. I just didn't. I thought that he was like either married or just like perpetually single. I don't know.
I mean, I knew he was like divorced. I know he mentioned it, but I didn't realize it was 3 times.
Yeah. So then Garza shares, or not Garza, Carter shares that he hasn't been single in almost 2 decades, and his world just feels like off. And so Garza drops the advice that they say your first divorce is like your hardest. And he's like, but I think that's a lie. By the time you hear three different women say that they made a mistake by marrying you, you start thinking you're the problem. And I'm like, oh my
I
God.
shouldn't have laughed, but I did just because of how
Same.
he said it. I was like, wow.
He just said it
okay.
like so curtly, like,
Yeah.
just blunt. So then Garza's like, just enjoy your first divorce. And Carter's like, well, that's strange, but comforting advice. So thanks.
Mhm.
And then Simone and Brendan like sit down, like had the most opportune time. And she's just like, the best way to get over someone is just to get under someone. And they motion to the girl on the other side of the pool deck. And Carter's like, no. And I did not ask for your opinions. I love how
Yeah.
Carter is just like, he literally does not want to put up with Simone's BS.
No.
Like, I love it. So then Brendan's like, well, Simone is a pretty good wing woman. I mean, she can help you out. But then like Brendan's sitting alone at a motel pool and he's like, I don't know, that just seems kind of sus to me. And when he said sus, I was like, wait, we've got Brendan Akers saying that. Like, I don't know, it's just too funny.
Yeah.
So Carter's like, I did not ask for your opinions. Like, and I'm not hooking up with someone. And that's when he says that it would be tacky. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's just too good.
Oh my God, it's just so funny though because Brendan was like, so I'd pass, and then Simone's like, I'd hit that. I was like, okay, girl, we hear you. Like,
Yeah.
rock on. Like, so here for the
Oh
my God, because she just does not care. She's just like, this is like, I like who I like. I will say what I want. Like, that's that. And I was like, all right.
It was just too good.
And like they were just so casual too, because Brendan's like eating chips or whatever, and Simone like has a drink. I'm like, like, what do they think this is? Like a powwow?
Well, even like Garza like had his shoes off and was I was just like, they are just straight chilling. And honestly, I wish that we had an invite because I would be there. But it was funny too because even Carter was like, well, then you go, like you be my guest. And when someone was like, honestly, I would. So it's just funny. Like that entire sequence. I was like, man, if only we had Laura there too, like it would just be such a good team scene and them not like talking about work and everything. So then Garza and Carter are walking out of the bureau, like after all of this, and Carter asks him how long it took him to go on a date after his divorce. And Garza's like, after the hardest divorce, it took me 3 years. I was terrified of getting hurt, so I threw myself into the job. And Carter's like, I'm a little afraid of dating, but I'm even more afraid of like being disappointed. And Garza's like, only you'll know when you're ready. It could be in 3 days, it could be in 3 years, like who knows. And so that's kind of where we leave it. I also just love like the budding relationship that Carter and Garza have. I think it's really nice to see, especially knowing now that like Garza has been divorced and like he can really relate to Carter. So but yeah, that's about it on Rookie Feds. We have a couple of listener thoughts.
Yeah, I'm so excited we have listener thoughts.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I definitely feel like Rookie Feds is still, people are still warming up to it. I mean, they're in their first season, they're finding their footing. So
so Laura had said the Rookie Feds was very good, and I liked how the storyline concluded. It'll be interesting to see if more accolades pop up. Part 2 of the crossover with Chef's Kiss. Yes, it was.
I mean, if they had more accolades pop up, that would just be really interesting.
I'd be terrified.
Same.
Like, what else could they possibly do?
Well, at that point, I would wonder how they're all connected then. Are they all like in some online group or something? Like it just, I don't know, because I know that like friends of ours that watch the Rookie more so, and like, I mean, even just people like last week with the Rookie, they were like, that just didn't feel like that climactic. It didn't feel like it was a true ending for Rosalind, especially like after all that she had like we've seen for her and everything. And I mean, I agree. So I feel like it can't be over yet, but I also feel like it's over. So I don't know, we'll see. Alora had said, I think the rookie feds going from strength to strength. I'm so glad that it's been picked up for a full season, and I'm really enjoying getting to know the characters and feeling like they're finding their rhythm with it now. Yes. Yeah. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah. And Blessed Turtle said, I repeat my criticism of 504 in that this didn't feel like a fully fledged crossover. There was literally just one scene with Tim and that was it. Maybe it was like expecting too much, but aside from that, they loved the episode overall. They're glad Rosalind's like no longer a threat to anyone as far as we know anyway. And that her accomplice was caught.
Janine had said, yeah, not an exact crossover in my opinion. First, didn't like Laura going at it with Tim. She shouldn't be questioning his childhood like that. And she said, I guess they were looking for the killer of Rosalind in a way, but in my opinion, yes, they found the guy that created the trap. He was literally just one of Rosalind's cronies. I really still believe that her accomplice that shot her is still out there, and I think that's Chris. She said Laura hooked up with her old partner. That was quick. And she said Simone telling Carter the best way to get over somebody is to get under them. I was cracking up. I'm really liking the partnership they have created with one another. I can't wait to see more. I don't know. There were things like people were talking about this because was this a sneak peek that was dropped about like Tim and Laura? I think
Yeah.
So. I don't think she was going at him about his childhood. Like she doesn't know him besides for those like 2 seconds that she met him in that scene and then in that one other scene. Like,
because I mean, everyone. I mean, like just because I like studying psychology too, so I can like kind of understand what she's saying. It's like literally everyone has some. I mean, it might not be as complex or filled with, like scars and like war stories and stuff from childhood. But everyone does have something from their past that makes them who they are. So I think she was just showing that in general profiling can be a helpful tool. Like I didn't really see it as like a personal like attack at Tim.
Well, and okay, when I think about like Tim's past, literally no one else on the rookie besides Lucy knows about it in my eyes.
Right.
Like not even Angela. So like there's no way that I don't think that Laura would know about it.
No, I don't see it because she's not pulling a Selena and having this like aura from Tim. I mean like I said, I mean, because I mean, yeah, psychology you have to get personal, but then there are like general like observations that someone can just make. You don't even have to be in a psychological profession. Not really.
Well, and even like I don't know, like I said, like she's literally seen him in 2 scenes, like for maybe 20 minutes. Like it just I mean maybe his reaction kind of like cued that he's like felt something from that, but I don't know. Tim is
I mean, because she profiled Brendan. And was like only a little bit right. Not totally right. It's just it's a skill that she happened to put to use.
And then I don't know. Like, what do you think? Is Rosalind Shooter still out there? Or was that Jeffrey Boyle?
I literally thought it was Jeffrey /Owen /Eli /whatever the hell else name. I thought it was him because I thought since they found the tiny bird mask and then he wore the big bird big bird. Sorry, that was funny. The regular size like bird mask. Then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it has to be him. When they were like, planning out, where the sniper could shoot from, I'm like,
I don't know. Part of me is just like they're done with the Rosalind stuff. But then who the heck knows?
I'd be surprised if they did something else with it.
I don't know. I don't really think that there's another accomplice out there. At least the one that shot her. I think that could have been Jeffrey. But then again, we didn't even see them like question Jeffrey. Nothing. Like we don't know how they met. We don't know if he actually killed her. I don't think the FBI is the team that questions them. But
yeah. But then it's like it doesn't really make much sense though, because like why would he kill her? Like what would he gain from that?
Right.
Because he still had his you know, death traps.
Especially if he likes watching his victims like suffer. Like what would he have gotten from shooting Rosalind?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. So this storyline, like it makes sense, but it also doesn't. So who knows? Yeah. But that was it on the rookie and the rookie feds. Do we have any other notes? I feel like we're all like talked out.
No, because you can just go on my Twitter about me screaming about all the people that I know from other shows that were on the specific crossover part 2.
Yeah.
That I was so happy about seeing. So, but yeah. I mean, it's just good. There's 2 good solid episodes that we talked about.
Yeah.
Here,
yeah,
so.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you guys still want to chat with us, hang out with us, you can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Kari Hyman.
And we're also on TikTok now. You guys can find us at the Shop Talk Pod _ I haven't put out a new TikTok in a few days, and like I need to get on that. So yeah. Stay tuned for more chaos over there. Because I'm getting on TikTok more on my personal and finding like sounds to use and trying to not make them all Chenford based, but yeah, it's kind of a little difficult when you're Chenford obsessed.
Yeah, and Jennifer's putting in all the work with that because I am like I know absolutely nothing about anything TikTok. I really don't. So, but yeah, I mean it's fun. Like I love how they turn out. I just have no idea how to make them. That is all her. If you want to give kudos, that is all her.
I will. We'll work on one. We'll have to.
Let's go. Okay.
But yeah, if you liked this episode of Shop Talk, we would really appreciate if you left us a rating and review. It would help out the podcast so much. And make sure to check out our TeePublic store. We've got some rookie merch. And then next week we'll be covering episodes 506 of The Rookie and 105 of The Rookie Feds. Until then, check out the new episode of Rookie Feds airing tonight if you're listening to this on Tuesday. And we'll see everyone next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Go get him, boo.